Starting a new bullet journal, chopped off all my hair. It's just a lot of new beginnings for me. Hello guys. Yes, my hair is a lot shorter. The hairdresser cut it shorter than I wanted it to be, so excuse it while I let it grow out. I'm sure many of you guys can relate. You know when you say you want like a certain length at the hairdresser and then they just give you like 5 inches shorter than you asked for? Well, that's what happened here. But you know what? I guess it's kind of fitting for this video because it's a fresh new start for my bullet journal and I guess a fresh new start for my hair as well. But yes, I have made it to the end of this bullet journal. We're nearing the end of this notebook, which means it's time to start a brand new notebook and transfer over into that one. So that's what we're gonna be doing for today's video. I'm just gonna be taking you guys through the process of me figuring out what spreads I want to transfer over and starting in this brand new journey of mine. It was kind of coincidental, but I actually ended up finishing this notebook exactly halfway through the year. Like we're nearing the end of June right now and I'm on the last pages. So the next notebook will be for the final 6 months of 2019. Anyways, I hope you guys find this video helpful, whether you're moving into a new notebook or not, but I'll stop talking now. Let's get right into it. Okay, so before I crack into my brand new notebook, in my old notebook on the very, very last page, it actually worked out perfectly because the end of June hit perfectly right before this spread, so it was a little bit satisfying. But I created this spread called Moving In to My New Journal, and it's just a spread to help me figure out what I want to transfer over. I actually did do this spread last year when I was transferring notebooks as well, and it was really helpful, especially because typically when you're transferring notebooks, you don't need every single spread that you needed, you know, at the beginning of the year. So this helps you organize your thoughts, and it's pretty simple. I just have 2 main headers. One says spreads to keep, one says spreads to leave. And what I'm doing is I'm going through all of the beginning pages of my notebook and categorizing which one I want to keep and which one I want to leave. So again, pretty simple. I also last year I did this section of like where I reflected on what was working and what wasn't. I didn't have enough time to do that this time around, so we're just keeping it pretty simple and doing like a good old keep and throw away pile. Oh, I also added one other section that says spreads to add. So these are any spreads that might not have been in my old notebook, but ones that I want to add into the new one. Next, I did this little mapping out thing just to figure out, you know, the number of pages and the order that I wanted to do. So I just have this little diagram and I input all of the spreads on the keep and add pile into those little squares. Oh yeah, this is just a fun little thing, but on the page next to it, this was like the page that was attached to the notebook, if that makes sense, but I didn't want to keep it blank, so I just did a little scrapbook thing, scrapbooking thing. Sorry, I don't know why it was so hard for me to say that, but I've been really into doing stuff like this recently. I've been playing around with photos and different types of papers and washi tapes, and I think it's really fun. Now on to the exciting part, actually moving over into the new notebook. As you can see, I'm using an Archer and Olive notebook. Again, it's the exact same type of notebook, just a different little emblem on the front. I'm gonna leave a link down below if you guys are interested in the notebooks that I'm using. I always get a ton of questions about that. But yes, just to keep it consistent with the year, I decided to use the exact same type. I'm gonna keep my little moving over into my new journal spread open so that I can kind of refer to it when I'm planning into the new notebook. But let's get started. Opening it up, there's just a section for me to write my name. I always love doing this. It feels like the beginning, the very beginning when you have to write your name in a new notebook. I also just write a key. At this point, I know all of the symbols that I use in my bullet journal, but again, it just feels like one of those formalities that I have to do when I open a new notebook. I've been doing a key for like the past 2 years, so I just like having it in the beginning on the inside cover of my notebook. But if any of you are new to bullet journaling, then having a key like this is very useful so that you can refer to it. Alright, so the first spread that I'm actually transferring over is my handy grid spacing guideline. Now, ever since I discovered this spread from Pacific Notation on Instagram, I think I discovered it like a year ago. It's been life-changing. I love it. I always refer to it whenever I'm doing my weekly spreads. I do get questions a bunch about how to use it. Basically, I have all of the numbers numbering the dot grid spaces vertically and horizontally. And then I have several lines dividing the page into half, thirds, quarters, and that way when I'm creating a spread, let's say I want to split up a spread into quarters, I can just refer to this page and see that, oh, for quarters it needs to be 8 dot grid spaces or whatnot. I don't know if that's actually accurate, but you know what I mean. And I made sure to create this spread on the left hand side of the page. That way when I'm flipping to it, when I'm creating my spreads, it's really easy to just like peek at it and then continue on making my spreads. That was something I was very conscious of doing because in the past I've done it on the other side and it's just not as convenient. Speaking of the other side, on the other side of the spread, I'm just creating a quote page to start off this brand new notebook. The quote says, "Let new adventures begin," which I thought was pretty fitting for this second half of the year. Something I also wanted to note was that I'm keeping the lettering styles pretty consistent with my old notebook. I wanted to, not do the exact same stuff as my old notebook, but I did want to make it look pretty similar in terms of styles. So I'm doing a lot of similar fonts, a lot of similar elements. For example, something I did a lot in my old notebook and just in general actually in 2019 was doing a lot of black backgrounds with white text. So I continued that on in this new notebook, and you see I did that with the word that says new, and I added a couple doodles around it. I thought it turned out really cute. Alright, on to the future log. If you didn't know, that's the section where we plan things that are a bit farther ahead in the future. Obviously, I only needed to do 6 months for this spread since there's only 6 months left in the year. So I split it up 3 months and 3 months per page, and I did a horizontal kind of layout. So I have these small calendars on the left-hand side of the box, and then on the right side is where I'll list any events or appointments that I have for that month. Again, I wanted to keep things pretty consistent with the previous styles that I was using. So for the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday section of the calendar, I did a black background with white gel pen over top. By the way, I also always get a lot of questions about what white gel pen I use, and I use the Sakura Jelly Roll for this. As usual, all of the specific materials that I use will be linked in the description box below. At this point, this is where I transfer over any events or appointments from my old future log into the new one, just so that, I remember to actually go to those specific events and appointments, or else I will definitely forget. Okay, so in my old notebook, since I started that notebook at the beginning of the year, I had a lot of pages for goal setting and vision boarding. I think there was like 4 pages that I had dedicated to goal setting, and then I had a spread that was also like 100 things that I wanted to do in 2019, which is basically just a bucket list. So instead of transferring all of those over, I decided to do more of a mid-year reflection and kind of merge those two together. So on one half, I have mid-year goals, and I have a couple different boxes, and each box I'll have a separate goal of things that I wanted to focus on for the second half of the year. And then on the other side, I have a bucket list, and this is where I'll transfer over some of the things from my old 100 things I want to do in 2019 at spread, just because I don't need to put all 100 since I did actually check some of those things off. But I do really like how the headers of these pages turned out, and I think the actual topic of the spreads makes sense together, so it wasn't a big deal to me that they were cut down from full page spreads into half page spreads. The next couple of spreads I actually kept pretty much exactly the same as I did them in my old notebook. I only tweaked a couple things with the headers or the font or whatnot, but in general, the layout is exactly the same. This one I'm doing is the places I went page. Pretty self-explanatory. It just is a place for me to keep track of the places I travel to and for me to remember my travel memories for the year. So I have 3 different columns, one for the destination, the date, and then my favorite memory from that specific trip. And I'm actually going to be transferring over the old ones from my old notebook just so I can look back in one main specific place and see all of my memories there. And then on the right side, I have a things to check out spread. This is a place for me to write down any movies or books or TV shows or songs that I've heard of or that I get recommended and that I want to remember to check out. Again, self-explanatory, but I have 4 different boxes that I have sectioned off for each specific category, and in those boxes is where I'll put the specific suggestions that I want to check out later. Since these are newly empty, if you guys have any suggestions of movies or TV shows or books or music that you think I would like, leave them in the comments below and I will fill up this spread with your suggestions. Oh, and I added little doodles in the corner of each one just because I felt like it was missing something. The next spread that I'm doing is my YouTube video ideas page. It's just a place for me to jot down any video ideas that I want to do in the future, and I've actually split this off into 3 categories. I have art videos, bullet journal videos, as well as lifestyle videos / miscellaneous. Pretty simple. I didn't really want to make this overly complicated because I just want to be able to quickly jot down any ideas for me to refer to in the future. Again, since this is an empty page, if you guys have any YouTube videos that you want to see me do, leave them in the comments below and I'll be sure to fill up the spread. I mean, I'll probably transfer over some of the old ideas that I had from my old notebook that I haven't done yet, but it's always nice to get some new ideas as well. On the other side, I have this songs to learn spread. For those of you who don't know, I do play the ukulele, the piano, and the guitar, and I love learning new songs and just jamming out for fun. So I like to have a list of songs that I want to try and figure out or learn in the future. Sometimes I'll hear a song on the radio and think to myself, oh, I should learn that on the piano. So instead of just, keeping it in my brain, I thought I would keep it in my bullet journal. Alright, so the final spread that I'm transferring over from my old notebook, you guys know this is one of my favorites. It is my 2019 Polaroid Memories spread. I've kept it exactly the same as my old one. I've blacked out the background and kept white boxes for me to actually insert the pictures, and I love the look of this. It almost looks like a chalkboard, and then when you put the pictures in the empty boxes, it's like you're hanging up pictures on a chalkboard. I think it's cute, and for some reason my brain, I don't know what I was thinking, but since it's the second half of the year, I thought it would be like, oh perfect, half and half, but I didn't realized that there was 4 boxes, so there was 2 extra spaces, but I'll just fill it with some miscellaneous photos anyways. Alright guys, so here's the final flip through of my brand new bullet journal with some of the spreads that we transferred over from my old one. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing the process of me creating these spreads, and I'm really happy with how it all turned out, so I'm very excited to start a brand new month and get planning for this second half of the year. Alright everyone, so that was it. We are officially transferred over into the new notebook. I hope you enjoyed seeing the process. I can't wait to fill it up with some more bullet journal months and setups. Of course, if you do want some more inspiration of things that you can fill your empty pages with, I do have a whole bullet journal playlist that has every single bullet journal setup and bullet journal video that I've ever made, so I'll link that down below. And if you guys want to send me any recreations of bullet journal spreads, you can follow me over on Instagram at AmandaRachelLee and tag me in your photos. I can't wait to see them. I also post a bunch of other bullet journal and art and doodling stuff there. I do my weekly spreads and we do live streams. It's a fun time, so you can check that out. But yes, I will stop talking now. Have a great day, keep doodling, and I will talk to you in the next video. Bye everyone.